Andrew Cox. Stay motivated and change your socks. Hey!
The Lost Art with Andrew Cox podcast. Marine Corps League and Till Valhalla Project Ambassador. Now streaming on all major podcast platforms. Thanks for tuning in to the podcast that's given a voice to our veterans. The Lost Art with Andrew Cox. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Podcast, that podcast giving a voice to our veterans. I'm your host, Andrew Cox, and today we're having a continuation of retired Colonel Mike Fallon's story. But before we get into the episode, are you enjoying the podcast? Make sure you go to the website. That's thelostart.podbean.com. Go check us out, see what we're all about. There, you can help support us in a couple of different ways. You can become a patron with a monthly donation, or you can just go get you some cool merchandise, and that helps us getting our veteran voices out for all to hear. Big shout out to the Till Valhalla Project. They're out there doing amazing things. If you don't know anything about them, and even if you do, make sure you go check out their website. They do have some awesome stuff on there. You can help support them in their mission as well. But you can check that out at tillvalhallaproject.com. Are you a Marine veteran? Are you missing that bond you had on active duty? Then I have a place for you. Join the only congressionally chartered Marine Corps Veteran Service Organization, the Marine Corps League. Get that brother and sisterhood back in your life. Become one of the fewer, the prouder, a Marine Corps League member. All right, we're back here. Mike, how you doing today?
I'm having a good day, AJ. I appreciate it.
Yeah, very nice. I think this is part 8 that we're recording today of your story. So, which is incredible. And I've gotten great positive feedback about your episodes because they're so detailed and you give such a great history of what was going on around it as well. It's just amazing.
Well, I thank you for that. I'm not sure it deserves a lot of credit. You know, one Marine trying to do one Marine's job.
Yeah, I understand. Well, I think where we left off was you were overseas getting ready. You had just gotten there. You weaseled your way in. Man, you got it to work. You got your unit over there, and you guys were ready to go hooking and jabbing.
Yes, sir. It's 1 January 1991. And
Okay.
we're in Saudi Arabia, and 1st Battalion, 1st Marines. We have just been traded from the 2nd Division to the 1st Division.
Right.
So we return home, and we were traded for 1st Battalion, 6 Marines, and they complete the 360. They return back to the 2nd Division, and as we had mentioned before, in that one battalion's life, they served in all 3 divisions.
Right.
As it turned out, in 1990. Now it's 1991, and we're on the road to war. The president, H.W., the first Bush, is building a huge coalition of forces and giving Saddam Hussein all the opportunity in the world to back out, but he doesn't seem to be backing down. The president's big decision in November was to double the size of the force.
Right.
And so now 1-1 is up at a place called the Speed Bump. It's on the coast road between Al Jabail and halfway to the border with Kuwait. We're not there very long. On 1 January 91, the 1st Marine Division stands up its 4th major task force. 1st Division decided to build around task forces, and they named the task forces because the reorganization was going so often, troops were having a hard time keeping track where they belonged. So
Right.
the fourth task force was named by General Myatt Task Force Papa Bear. And of course,
Nice.
Papa Bear is a direct reference to General Myatt's mentor, who basically pushed him into the CG of the 1st Marine Division in time for the war. And his mentor is now the Commandant of the Marine Corps, General Al Gray,
Mm-hmm.
who most Marines know was not only a superior Marine, a superior commandant, and he had taken his commandancy in 1988 and changed the culture of the Marine Corps. And he did it intellectually by establishing the commandant's reading list
Yeah.
and requiring all Marines to, of each rank, at a different reading list. He set the tone by making his uniform the camouflage uniform, and that's all he would wear. And he's the only commandant in the commandant's official portraits. Each
Right.
commandant gets official portrait. They're all usually in dress blues with a boat cloak and a lot of medals.
Right.
Like they're the big commandant. He's the only commandant to date. His portrait is in camis. And so the former enlisted Marine, Mustanger, never forgot where he came from. One that every Marine, the troops loved him.
Mm-hmm.
1988, he becomes commandant, changing the culture. He's also changing how we fight.
Mm-hmm.
And he has been on a 6-year campaign to move to what is called maneuver warfare.
Right.
He has caused debates inside the Marine Corps, many heated, brought out, many articles written,
Yeah.
and he wants to maneuver a unit to its best position rather than doing the old World War I or Sands of Iwo Jima, where you have no choice, frontal attack straight into the machine gun nest of the enemy,
Right.
where you're going to suffer high attrition. He's more of a Sun Tzu guy and would say, let's maneuver to our best position. So we end up in 1991 in the Gulf War. We now call it the first Gulf War.
Mm-hmm.
Is going to be a litmus test. That was General Gray right, or did he lead us down the wrong path?
Right.
As all military historians know, not only was he right, he was right in spades. So back into the 1st Division, the 1st Marine Regimental Headquarters is now flown in country.
Mm-hmm.
And they become the higher headquarters for Task Force Papa Bear. And I find myself, the 1st Battalion, 1st Marine now is a battalion landing team, although we're not landing. So we're really a battalion reinforced, and we call ourselves Mechanized MEW SOC, Special Operations Capable, because the battalion was a certified battalion to do all those sorts of missions.
Right.
Now we're meched up with Bravo Company tracks.
Mm-hmm.
The commander is Chris Blanchard. Captain Blanchard has been in country 5 months with 1-6, 1st Battalion, 6th Marines. So his tractor drivers, his team chiefs, his platoon commanders, they've been practicing desert warfare for 5 months.
Right.
So what a great set of circumstances that we fall in with Bravo tracks and their knowledge as we map one Marine rifle squad with a machine gun team to each tractor. And so we've got 3 rifle companies now, with the 4th company been chopped down to headquarters battalion.
Mm-hmm.
And we're meched up. Got 55 AM tracks, 2 command tracks with an alpha command group, in a Bravo command group, and most people who know me know that I don't have enough. I've got too much energy to keep me slapped in a command post. So we built a little, what we call a little jump CP in a P7 tractor, and so the Alpha Command Group was led by the S3, Bob Wagner. The Bravo Command Group was led by the XO, Mike Einseidler. They generally got together at night to form the main. And then I was out in a P7, and I'm not going to sit underneath in the back of a tractor. Most Marines have to suffer sitting in the back. They can't tell where they're going. They're in that iron coffin.
Yeah.
I took the troop commander's hatch and got up in that thing, and there's a little seat up there, and the comm guys hooked together high tech at the time, a push button panel with 10 push buttons that were linked to 10 different radios.
Oh, wow.
And each of the 10 radios was on a different radio frequency. And so there was 10 radio operators in the back of my track. In the gunner's track, Captain Blanchard decided to bump the gunner, and he came and manned the gunner in my track. And what that allowed us to do was I could hit the intercom, and I could tell him the formation, just like a football play, that we wanted the 55 tracks to take in this wide open desert.
Right.
And as he, like the offensive coordinator, he could talk on the Amtrak frequency to his platoon commanders, and we could go from a column to online. And while the infantry platoon commanders were worrying about where the enemy was and the fire support coordination, the movement was generally run by the Amtrackers. And we copied that model. So each of the company commanders in their P7, each rifle company got 10 tractors, 3 tractors for each platoon, rifle platoon.
Right.
And then, so that's 9. And then 1 tractor for the company commander. And we put the track platoon commander in a gunner's hatch. So each of the company commanders was out looking around, head up, had his platoon commander controlling his 9 tractors.
Right.
So each company commander had 9 tractors. So we started doing tactical exercises without troops. It's called a toot. So a toot is not a fart. A toot is a tactical exercise without troops.
Right.
There's no reason to put 13 or 16 Marines in an Amtrak, close the hood with all the fumes, and drive around for 3 hours.
Yeah.
But we had to practice our formations, practice our communications. We generally did it every morning early. And Captain Blanchard came to me on day 1 and said, "Hey, boss, I would like to have all the tractors run at 5 miles per hour." And we put a speed limit on them. I said, "Well, why is that?" I said, "Should we kind of get used to moving?" He said, "Well, we need to practice formations. We don't need to practice driving hard and driving fast." And he said 5 miles per hour versus 35 miles per hour across the desert will probably save me 30 or 40 man hours of maintenance for every day we run the tractors.
Makes sense.
And so that's on his whole outfit each day. And so, they had to do maintenance every afternoon and every night on all our tractors. And so I said, well, that makes sense. We want to have 55 tractors that are full up, ready to go on game day.
Mm-hmm.
So we did that. The troops, we built, I had the gunner in a 3-shop, Warrant Officer Williamson. He went to our engineer detachment, got a couple bulldozers, and he pushed sand and built some U-shaped berms. Everybody said,
Yeah.
what we're doing? We said, we're just practicing bulldozers and digging in. What we did was we built live fire ranges. We just didn't tell anybody. And we continued what we had done at 29 Palms with first a zero range.
Right.
And then we had everybody get their sights zeroed with live ammunition.
Mm-hmm.
And we just had everybody get real familiar with their weapon again. And then the afternoon, so you get to clean it, of course.
Mm-hmm.
We moved off the speed bump and moved into a training area early January, where we had a box about halfway to the border. And I had the 2-shop in the stay platoon. Stay acronym is STA, Surveillance Target Acquisition. Build a big sand table. Now a sand table is a 3-dimension map, kind of like when you were a kid at the beach.
Mm-hmm.
You got to build castles and forts. We built a big sand table of the map. And generally the desert's pretty flat, so they took wire, black wire,
Mm-hmm.
and laid it in boxes to show the grid coordinates. And then we put the berm. The Saudis had pushed up a big 20 to 30 foot sand berm the whole length of the border between them and Kuwait, between them and Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
It was either on the border or sometimes, depending on the terrain and the turn, off the border on their side,
Mm-hmm.
5 to some places up to 10 kilometers.
Oh, wow.
So the berm's on there. And then we knew we were going to Kuwait. So Kuwait had a couple of hills and a bunch of oil fields. So we had a big sand table where ultimately we would practice our scheme of maneuver with little toys.
Right.
And so we had about 3 weeks. That was good. We had to knock the rust off, get serious. Since we were meched up, we could carry more. And having been cold in the desert in the Middle East when I was a captain, I made a decision to bring cots for every Marine. Now, in the infantry, cots are unheard of. I mean, you might see a cot in the rear. But I said, we're going to bring a cot for every Marine. And while we're training in Saudi Arabia, every Marine's going to sleep on a cot, get up off the ground and sleep.
Yeah.
That's going to keep us healthy. And a lot of the battalions that had been there and started developing mini pneumonia in the chest region, getting big harkers, and the Marine running at about 75%. We want to keep our guys healthy. So in the Desert Shield portion, the infantry Marines in 1-1 were living high in the hog.
Yeah.
The other rule was we brought our cooks and we said 1 hot meal a day, set up a mess hall, had 1 hot, and then also had to teach them field sanitation. And I won't go over that story again, but we actually, we had to build our own shitters and burn our own shitters.
Right.
Supervised by the corpsmen.
Mm-hmm.
The division was developing their division scheme of maneuver. Each of the task forces were developing their scheme of maneuver.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the big picture, the Marine Corps was the supporting attack, and they were really the big diversion. They were supposed to attack straight from the south, straight north into Kuwait.
Mm.
And they're supposed to make a lot of noise and draw the Iraqis' attention to the two Marine divisions that were south of the Kuwait border
Mm-hmm.
and the other diversion that was coupled with a lot of radio traffic back and forth, where the 4th Marine Expeditionary Brigade and
Mm-hmm.
the 5th Marine Expeditionary Brigade. So 2 regiments of Marines,
Right.
basically a division minus, sitting at sea out on the right flank for the Kuwaitis to worry about. So
Right.
in the KTO, that's an acronym, ladies, the Kuwaiti Theory of Operations,
Mm-hmm.
facing the 2 Marine divisions and the 2 Marine Expedition Brigades were 8 Iraqi divisions defending Kuwait outside Kuwait City.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had Republican Guard sitting on the border. They could swing to Kuwait City or could swing to the west into the open desert.
Right.
And Schwarzkopf's big game plan was Marines fix the enemy, and the Army and the big armor are going to do the big left-handed hook
Mm-hmm.
around the left, the big Hail Mary pass, and the Roger Staubach pass of the old Dallas Cowboys,
Yeah.
cross the desert, and come in behind the Republican Guard. So that's Schwarzkopf's plan.
Right.
And so the 1st Division, the supporting attack, had a plan of first it was going to be 1 up and 1 back, 2 divisions, and that proved to be too many vehicles for one superhighway in the desert.
Mm-hmm.
So they split it to have the divisions side by side.
Okay.
And they heavied up the 2nd Marine Division with the Tiger Brigade of the Army, which is
Oh,
a
okay.
full up mechanized tank brigade
Right.
with the new M1A1 tanks, the Tiger Brigade. So the
Mm-hmm.
Tiger Brigade is the heavy fist of the 2nd Division, and the 2nd Division's already got the 2nd Tank Battalion. I believe they picked up a good piece of the 8th Tank Battalion out of the
wow.
reserves. And so they're going to be the main attack for Boober, and the supporting attack is going to be the 1st Division.
Okay.
So inside the 1st Division, there are going to be 4 mechanized task forces. Cancel it. There are going to be 4 regimental sized task forces.
Okay.
2 of them are going to be infantry mobile, mechanical mobile, meaning trucks.
Mm-hmm.
2 of them are going to be mechanized. The 2 mechanized are going to breach the minefield
Right.
on G-Day. So D-Day was in World War II, and
Mm-hmm.
we stormed Normandy. The real Desert Storm started in January, is going on right now, and I'm talking with A-Day when they started the air portion and the air attacks to soften up Kuwait and Saddam's army. The air portion of the war started almost 30 days before the ground portion. So
Good
the
night.
ground portion kickoff is going to be G-Day, as in Golf Day, G-Day, and it's going to be in the 1st Division, 2 mech task forces breaching, and to guard their flanks, is going to be an infantry task force on each flank,
Mm-hmm.
and they are going to infiltrate using their Cadillacs, walking through and under the wire, and they're going to sneak in 2 days prior to G-Day.
Oh, wow.
And so General Myatt is like really pressing the envelope. He's going to get 2 infantry regiments guarding his flanks through the double minefields
Uh-huh.
and guard his flanks so when the mechanized units breach the minefields,
Mm-hmm.
they can go very fast. So G-2, Task Force Taro on the right flank, which is 3rd Marine Regiment Task Force with 1-3, 2-3, and 3-3.
Mm-hmm.
Although most of 2-3 got pulled back to be a heliborne task force called Task Force X-Ray. And then on the left flank is going to be Task Force Grizzly, built around the 4th Marines. The 2 mech task forces are Task Force Ripper, built around the 7th Marines, and they're going to be the 1st Division's main attack.
Mm-hmm.
And Task Force Papa Bear, which is built around the 1st Marines, are going to be the supporting attack.
Okay.
And so now down in Papa Bear, the unit that had been practicing all the breaching for 4 months was the 3rd Battalion, 9th Marines.
Okay.
And they were the other infantry battalion in Papa Bear. So they got the breach missing. So 3rd Battalion, 9th Marines is going to breach the minefield and set up first 2 and then 4 lanes, think 1 vehicle wide,
Mm-hmm.
to go through. And then they're going to be followed by 1st Tank Battalion, the
Mm-hmm.
combat tank punch of Papa Bear.
Right.
And then pulling up the rear is going to be the 1st Battalion, 1st Marines. So of all the battalions in the Marine Corps, I mean, we're happy to be there. And all the battalions in the war, the Marine Corps is the supporting attack of the Army.
Uh-huh.
Inside the Marine Corps, the 1st Division is the supporting attack of the 2nd Division. Inside the 1st Division, Task Force Ripper is the main attack. Papa Bear is the supporting attack. And then the last guy through is going to be the 1st Battalion, 1st Marines. But the thought was we probably wouldn't be fighting the first day. And so we were made the Division Exploitation Force since we were
Okay.
mechanized,
Yeah.
which means my first boss was the Task Force Papa Bear. My second boss simultaneously was the Division Commander, Task Force Myatt. And General Myatt could launch us if he saw an opening.
Okay.
So G-2, that's 2 days before we're to cross, it's now in February of 91. And we move out of our trading area
Mm-hmm.
into our assembly area. I have the 2 shop and the stay bubbas bring all the toys for the sand table up. We built another big sand table.
Mm-hmm.
And all day on G-2, we started with what I called the leader's brief. And the leader's brief is that he has to brief his part of the mission to his peers and to the unit that works for him, 1 down, who is there listening.
Mm-hmm.
And he has to brief his mission and 1 mission higher up,
Okay.
because you have to be able to assume at least 1 mission higher. In the place of the exploitation force, we have to understand not only the task force mission, but the division's mission.
Right.
So in the morning, the three, Bob Wagner and myself, we walk around at about 0700 with our coffee on this big sand table that Bob briefed and me correct, and I brief, Bob correct. We're briefing the company commanders.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got the track company commander. We got the 3 maneuver company commanders. We've got the person in charge of our trains. So we had combat trains. So the trains are all your logistics. So in our combat trains, we had bullets, fuel, and water.
Right.
And so we had combat trains and we had logistics trains.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had 2 train units, each with a commander, and they were trucked up, following behind the mech. We had 246 vehicles just in the trains.
Oh, wow.
55 Amtraks. We had a tow platoon. So that's 24 tow gunners on Humvees.
Wow.
So that's 24 little chickens running around with tows on them. We got a tank platoon. We got 81 millimeter mortar platoon. We got our heavy guns platoon.
Yeah.
Which we broke into 3 reinforced sections
Mm-hmm.
and beefed them up with some tows, Dragons, 50 cals, and Mark 40s. We mech'd them all up on Humvees. So each of the sections was led by a lieutenant. And then, so there are screeners at the side to
Mm-hmm.
be able to screen to the flank. And then we had the stay platoon, surveillance target acquisition. We had them in Humvees screening to the front.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of moving parts. So we briefed it. Well, we took about an hour, answered questions. The next hour, each company got an hour. So Alpha Company got 1 hour with all their lieutenants, all their tractor drivers, all their squad leaders to brief their brief on the sand table. Now, anybody could stand around and listen, but then each of the companies, so G-2 was our final sand table brief. G-3, we had driven at 5 miles an hour through each of the formations out in the open desert, starting with a column, because we're going to go through the breach lane, and we're assuming we got 2 lanes to go through. And so then the platoon commanders, then the squad leaders briefed every tractor team. So the squad leader and the tractor team guy, team chief of that tractor.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 3 tractor guys, 13 to 18 Marines.
Right.
They're briefing their part. So that's an all-day evolution. We had a hot meal, and we said that was going to be our last hot meal.
Mm-hmm.
We had already been given the order that at G-1 at midday, late, we were to move from our assembly area up to our attack position.
Mm-hmm.
And our attack position was behind the berm and spread out in a column with the berm protecting us.
Right.
Horizontally to the border. And our breach was the eastern breach in Papa Bear, and the east breach and the west breach, which was split by 20 kilometers, and up past the dog leg, so west and north, was Rippers.
Okay.
And so we get into the attack position We left about noon. We got in there about, I'd say I was in at 1400,
Mm-hmm.
and we probably got everybody strung out by 1600, and then we're doing all the radio checks, all the comm checks, and then we was just sitting down.
Yeah. Basically just sitting and waiting at that point then.
Yep. So I went up on top of the berm and put up a little shelter half for shade and sat there, and I could see the minefield
Mm-hmm.
and the wire where we were going to breach.
Okay.
Not where we were going to breach, where 3rd Battalion, 9th Marine is going to breach.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Being the last battalion, when we got there, we went and drew ammunition. And if I told this story, stop me. And we didn't get all our Dodicks. And one of the Dodicks that we got 0 on was 81 millimeter mortar rounds.
Okay.
And so we go through the first week, and I got the ammo techs going every day.
Yeah.
Try to get 81s. And there's just no 81 rounds in the dump. So the second week in January, I write an official letter to the MEF commander, because MEF had the biggest ammo dump.
Mm-hmm.
Was the MEF ammo dump, saying I need 3 DOA, 3 days of ammo,
Mm-hmm.
for 181 millimeter mortar platoon, because we're going to war.
Right. Makes sense.
And I set it up to regiment. Regiment endorses it, sends it up to division. Division says we got none, sends it up to MEF, and it comes back to me and it says there ain't any.
Oh, jeez.
So nobody wants to help me, and I'm now taking this personal and getting in arguments with the chain of command. So one day, mid-January, really the only people you can talk to are your peers in command. So there's not that many lieutenant colonels commanding battalions.
Right.
I get my Humvee and I drive 20 kilometers west to the 3rd Battalion, 9th Marine CP, where Major Lieutenant Colonel Mike Smith is the commander.
Okay.
And Mike and I went back about 20 years, and so he knows the proper protocol of the desert. Come in. Would you like tea or coffee? And I said, I'll take one of each. And he laughs, and he's got hot water on. We sit down, and he said, you didn't drive 20 kilometers to drink tea and coffee with me. I said, nope. I said, I got a problem. And he says, what's that? I said, I don't got it. I don't have any 81 ammo. He said, yeah, you're going to war. That's not good. So he's sitting there and he goes, well, without me even asking, he said, I think I can help you. He says, what do you mean? He said, I have more 81 ammo than I can lift. I don't have enough trucks to lift all the 81 ammo. I said,
wow.
They said, how'd you get all that ammo? He said, well, the ammo tech went to the division ammo site every week. We've been here 4 months. So every week for the first 3 months, we drew a full battalion's DOA of ammo.
Oh,
we
wow.
have more ammo than we can lift. They said, that makes sense. I said, okay, I'll send some trucks over. He says, wait a minute, you got to do something for me. I said, okay, what do you want? He says, I want your 81s. I'm not going to give you my 81s. He said, no, just on G-Day, I have to breach the minefield. You don't have anything to do. Send your 81s forward, and on one shoulder of the breach, we'll put my 8 tubes, and on the other shoulder, we'll put your 8 tubes, and I'll have 16 tubes of 81s. Now, I don't have to call, I'd have to call regiment, division, I have to say, Mother May I, I'm in the breach. I got 16 tubes, 81 shooting from my breach.
Yeah, that
I
makes
said,
sense.
Michael, my lad, it's a done deal. And he said, yeah, and we'll stage 1,000 rounds at each breach. And if we don't shoot them, we'll leave them. And then we'll have our trucks staged with all the other stuff, so we just pick up and go. I mean, he had a lot of 81 ammo.
Yeah.
So it was a good deal for my 81s. They got to shoot on G Day.
Yeah.
They started shooting at first light, and G Day 3.9 started rolling into it,
Uh-huh.
and they went at the same time as Ripper did because Ripper was 20 kilometers further north,
Uh-huh.
and the enemy had put what was called fire sacks between the two belts.
Okay.
And what they try to do is they kind of let you get through the first belt,
Mm-hmm.
and then they have pillboxes, machine gun nest behind the second belt, and they try to stop you, and they have their artillery pre-registered between
Right.
the two belts. So you get through the first fast, you run up in the second belt, and you go boom, and now you got to put infantry in the trenches
Mm-hmm.
to clear the trenches, which is what 3.9 had to do.
Right.
They got through the first belt. They had to cut through the wire, find the tank mines in the lane,
Mm-hmm.
in a proofed lane, and then get into the trench line and go both directions, small arms length, so 1,500 meters both ways.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the fight on G morning at the Task Force Papa Bear breach.
Right.
I get to sit there with my coffee, watch 3.9 doing a great job, watch my 81s just shooting the shit out of the ammo, and it's going like clockwork.
Nice.
We're having a good go at it. We got to wait. They have it's just like going in a toll road, except
Mm-hmm.
the lanes are controlled. They actually put together the same thing that we do when we do an amphibious landing. Shore Party makes lanes on the beach,
Right.
colors them with colors and numbers, red 1, red 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the Shore Party network, they control the lanes to have traffic control.
Okay.
So Shore Party for the division, actually a lieutenant colonel named Howard Shores, no pun intended, came up with the idea to use that methodology. It was bought by the 1st Marine Division because everybody could immediately associate with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then actually after he set it up for the 1st Division, Howie went over and taught it to the 2nd Division. So we had to wait until the lane control guy told us we could go. So in the plan, the Papa Bear plan, 3.9 breaches, it goes left and right
Mm-hmm.
with their infantry.
Right.
And then their track stuff, they're going to peel left on the inside of the berm.
Mm-hmm.
Tank battalion's going to blow through, and they're going to dogleg right 90 degrees and go about 6 kilometers up to the 1st Macadam Road
Mm-hmm.
and face to the east because there was thought that if there was a threat coming, a mechanized division of the Iraqis could be coming from the east.
Right.
Now, 15 kilometers further east, there's an infantry regiment facing that direction also.
Mm-hmm.
So the tank guys are supposed to be 10 kilometers deeper than the infantry guys. They got to
Right.
do some coordination. Now, Watash and 1-1 means it's like football, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the left guard and the left ankle, one step, block left. The
Mm-hmm.
center, the right guard and the right tackle, that's the heavy side tanks. One step, block right, hand off. We're going straight up the gut.
Yeah.
And we're going to go as far as we can. And
Okay.
in maneuver warfare, you understand the commander's intent. The commander, General Myatt, wanted to take Kuwait International Airport.
Right.
It turned out it was a one MEF objective. So General Myatt made it a first division objective. And so that was sitting up there all the way up. So we got through the breach, and I got to tell you, 1-9 had to clear the minefields.
Mm-hmm.
They had to clear the trench lines with the firefights, and they had a few firefights, and then they started taking prisoners from the infantry there.
Mm.
We got through, and there was sporadic shelling into the fire sack, but in Papa Bear, nobody stopped in the fire sack. The way the
Okay.
lane controls did it, when you started here, you had the green light to go through lane red 1 north through both barriers. So
Okay.
you're 30 kilometers an hour, single file in red 1. Red 2 is the other side of your staggered column.
Right.
We're mechanized straight through. So we're blowing through. We go through 5 kilometers and we got nothing. It's great. And we go about another 5 kilometers and we're in column. And it's getting about 1600. It's getting dark.
Mm-hmm.
It's raining. It's raining to get out, and the skies are
Right.
dark. And right in front of us is the Albergon oil field. And the Albergon oil field had 116 wellheads.
Okay.
And a wellhead means there's been a drilled well and it's either capped or it's pumping or there's a rig over it.
Mm-hmm.
One of those 3 postures. And about half the wellheads, Saddam and the Iraqis had set on fire. And so we have this big, totally black, from the ground to the sky, black fog shield. And in it, these red and yellow flames like Bunsen burners from high school chemistry,
Okay.
every 400 meters going across our front.
Wow.
So,
And you said it. So it's raining. Plus, you have all the smoke. Can't really see all that good. Really, the only thing you're really seeing, I guess, is those flames. Then.
when we came through the breach, we could see about a click, and
Mm-hmm.
the ceiling was about 400 feet.
Okay.
Visibility was poor. It was raining. We get up to about 800 meters from the oil field. We just got this big black blanket in front of us. I like to run in the front. So Bravo Company is supposed to be the point company, and they're in a inverted diamond formation, which means they got 10 tractors in a V,
Mm-hmm.
and they got a point tractor. Behind the point tractor is a company commander in his tractor, and he's about 10 meters behind the point tractor
Mm-hmm.
because he wants to see what's going on. And up the company commander's ass, 10 meters, is me, right there. And so I called ahead to Bravo and I just told them stop and go online. So they went up online. I told Blanchard, put the other two companies online to our right flank. And so Alpha Company was behind Bravo in our column.
Mm-hmm.
Alpha Company, Captain Bob, Rob Barrow, comes up, his 10 tractors. And then refusing the right flank, we have Delta Company,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to refuse back down, and they're going to tie into a section of tows that belongs to 1st Tank Battalion.
Okay.
And so I said, you guys spend some time, make sure there's no gap in the line. We're going to stop and assess things. And then out to my left, we put a tow section of 8 tows. And then we put a heavy gun section of 8 vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
And we refused it. And so our left, we're flapping. So, I mean,
Okay.
there's nobody to our left. Behind us 10 kilometers going to the left is 3-9, who's now getting mech'd up. And it stopped. And at about that time, Papa Bear and Division, everybody said stop, which you don't really do in maneuver warfare, but in warfare you do what makes sense. And we had great success, and Ripper had great success getting through their breach. They had a fight, and they had a fight on the other side of their breach, gotten in about 20 kilometers was getting up. They had an airfield to take that was up and to their left. Everybody stopped. Everybody's going to get oriented. But what you also do is, you bring the fuel forward, and you count heads, and this has been everybody's first fight forever, and my guys haven't really fired their weapons.
Right.
In Desert Shield, I believed in digging in. From Vietnam, I always dug in.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you stop, you dig. And since we were mech'd up, we bought shovels and picks and axes. We could carry them. And my sergeant major, he'd been at Dado and digging in and getting behind earth of rice berms.
Mm-hmm.
It saved his life. So the two of us are believers. And so 3 months earlier, I said, this is staff NCO work, and this is your job. Every time we stop, even for 10 minutes, you and I are going to dig our fight position ourselves. And then as soon as we're done, you're going to start walking the lines and kicking ass. And you're going to tell the first sergeants, and there's no excuse. They got a little E-tool. No. You got shovels, picks, you dig.
Yeah.
And it becomes habit. So we stop 800 meters from the burning oil field, and everybody digs in.
Right.
And including pushing up a little bit of dirt for the tractors to get behind.
Mm-hmm.
And I call the 2 and the platoon commander for the state platoon, staff sergeant, call him over and I say, okay, you guys are my eyes and ears. I want 3 teams, 800 meters forward into that burning oil field, find the road inside the oil field on the map. There was a road that crossed behind us. There was a maintenance road. And I want to know what's on the road. Are there any enemy there? Is there anything on the road? And they said, we got to go in that burning oil field? I said, yeah. Really? And I said, yeah. So, so we had talked about it a lot, and of course, talk's cheap. And one of my best friends in my life is a guy named Dick Al Tracy. We always
Okay.
we always say Al because you know when we grew up, Dick Tracy
Yeah.
was a famous cartoon character in the comic books.
Right. That's exactly who I thought of whenever you said it. So.
And when Dick Al Tracy went to boot camp at MCRD San Diego, uh, he kept telling him his name was Al. They finally looked it up. The drill instructor did. I think one of the juniors did. And he said, "Ha, your name's Dick Tracy." And boy, life got hard for him.
Yeah, I imagine so.
The rest of boot camp. He went on. He had dropped out of Texas A&M his Aggie year, but he was smart. He got picked up in the enlisted commissioner program.
Nice.
Went to Vietnam, and well, he got out as a captain and went back to Texas, and got in the oil and gas business, and had a little 3-man wildcat operation run out of Spring, Texas.
Okay.
And so when we were getting ready to go to Kuwait or to Saudi, he called me up and said, "Hey, you're going. I wish I was in the Marine Corps. Anything I can do for you?" I said, "Yeah, send me some maps, oil maps of the Kuwait oil fields."
Right.
So we got unbelievable great maps from the Houston Oil Institute.
Nice.
And then I called him one day and I said, "What do you do in an oil field when, when an oil well's on fire?" And he goes, "Well, you back away from it and leave it alone, you dumb shit. And then you call Red Adair." And I said, "Well, I don't think I'm going to be calling 1-800 Red Adair, but explain to me about these wellheads." And he says, "Look, they burn at," and he named it, I can't remember what it was, 280 degrees Fahrenheit. And if you get within 10 meters of it, your skin will boil on your face.
Oh my God.
If you get within 50 meters, you're instantly sunburned. And he said it creates wind pressure,
Yeah.
pushes away from it.
Uh-huh.
He says, but at 200 meters, it's nothing. It stops. So just 200 meters either side.
Yeah.
So it's just like you're in a chemistry lab. You could turn on a Bunsen burner. If you put your hand over top of it, you burn your hand, you dumb shit.
Yeah.
If you go 200 meters, you're okay. So, in our sand tables, we had what ifed all this
Right.
and said, look, if it's burning on the left and it's burning on the right, you go down the middle.
Yeah.
Well, it's easy to say that, but these fine young lance corporals and corporals from the state platoon, they saddled up and they went forward and they took their Humvees up there and, they split the distance. And I got to think that when they hit the burn line, they were probably going 50 or 60 miles an hour.
Okay.
They had to hit their brakes fast because to save money, all of the oil pipelines in the big oil fields in Kuwait are above ground. They're
Oh
just
yeah.
up on two cinder blocks and a big oil pipe
Yeah.
going this way. The only way you get across it is, you got to jump over it or you got to turn
Yeah.
left. You got to go down until there's a cattle guard.
Right.
They usually took it up over like an H. They didn't
Yeah.
dig in. They did these H things. So we had the maps. We knew where the H's were. Inside the Albert Gordon oil field was a hill. I'm going to turn around and look. I had to look at a sketch map on my back.
Yeah.
I love me. Well, Hill 127
Okay.
was an oil gathering station where a lot of oil pipelines came together on the highest hill in the Albergone oil field, and it was Hill 127. So that was the 1st Battalion, 1st Marines' first objective.
Okay.
And in maneuver warfare, you don't really have objectives, but we did a combination of both. I figured we're going to take that hill.
Mm-hmm.
So we're probably 2 kilometers from it. And we're 800 meters away from the burning oil thing.
Right.
And it's burning, and the stay bubbas come back after about 2 hours, and they say, the road's there, but you can't get on the road because all the pipelines are on this side of the road.
Mm.
Except at the known crossing points.
Right.
We had them on the map. And we knew we were going north. So that night, the 3 and the 2 had to figure out these for us represented choke points
Mm-hmm.
because I wanted nothing to do with cutting a high-powered gas line
Yeah.
or a low-powered or high-pressure, not power, high-pressure gas line or a
Mm-hmm.
high-pressure oil line.
Right.
Not when all the other ones were on fire.
Mm. Yeah,
So
exactly.
we're going to go through the choke points. The rest of Papa Bear, their plan was to go around the west.
Okay.
I wasn't buying into that. I was going to go straight up the gut. And we ended, we got held up there that night. And so everybody called an orders group. Papa Bear called one. I sent my S3. Bob Wagner said, Bob, you go. Tell him I'm forward doing a reconnaissance and get tomorrow's orders and see if there's any change. And there was no change. And we're supposed to wait. Word came down from division that the artillery bubbas wanted to do a big time on target into 2 big oil fields to kick off the next day. They were very pleased that the aviation brothers had really shut down the Iraqi arty. Every time the Iraqi arty fired during the air war, a Marine spotter plane spotted rounds out, and before they were complete, they were rolling birds that were on cap onto the Iraqi artillery positions.
Wow.
So they were training the artillery guys, and every time they shot,
Mm-hmm.
they better move because we were putting fixed wing on them. So the psychological warfare and the big 30-day prep
Mm-hmm.
really worked. And none of the task forces for 1st Division got caught in the fire zone.
Wow.
And the Arty boys wanted to kick the next day off. Big time on target, made sense. And so the one in the east was going to be on the Albergone oil field. And the one in the west was going to be on another oil field.
Okay.
During the night, General Myatt's jump CP, because General Myatt's kind of like me, a lot of energies. He's not going to sit under the canvas tent. His jump CP is 2 C7 LAV C squared tractors, 6 gun tractors, and he had pushed his forward with himself and his 3, and he was going to position himself doing task force Papa Bear on his right flank and task force Ripper on his left flank. He's going to go in the middle as a good commander, be in position to control both of them.
Right.
Well, he pushed, he came through our breach, turned left, zigged back north, got in front of 3-9, kept driving, missed my last guy, and he's out there in the middle of no man's land.
Oh no.
They stopped, and so the line is 1-1's on line. There's a gap. Division jump CP. There's a gap. Then there's 1-7 on line from Ripper.
Yeah.
And so the next morning, the different versions. One version says the Iraqis were counterattacking.
Mm-hmm.
One version says the Iraqis were running away. Probably some truth in both versions.
Okay.
There was a mechanized division in the Albergona oil field.
Mm-hmm.
And the next morning, they started moving west,
Okay.
which is across the division's front.
Right.
And while they're moving, the 11th Marines shoots their time on target, Pat Howard, the colonel, into the Albergona oil field. Every gun they had, I
Mm-hmm.
want to say 5 artillery battalions, maybe
Oh, wow.
6. And that incentivized that mechanized division to split into brigades and keep moving on their macadam accesses of advance. They had 3 of them that went west with a mechanized brigade on each one,
Right.
moving east to west like ladders. And the southernmost one ran into their lead vehicles, the division jump CP.
Oh no.
And so the division jump CP, and it's now a famous story, got into a firefight there. And the reason I know it well is the 2nd Platoon of Charlie Company was the security platoon, and 2nd
Right.
Lieutenant Tom O'Connor got to take 4 AT-4s and personally put 2 of them in the lead BMP and stopped the lead BMP.
Wow.
After that fight, for which he was recognized for bravery and for flanking the enemy
Uh-huh.
with a Silver Star, which Tom earned.
Very cool.
At the same time, that's a mech brigade with well over 200 BMPs, BRTMs, and tanks
Mm-hmm.
in single file, 800 meters in front of us, going across 1st Battalion, 1st Marines front.
Right.
And now their point vehicles stopped, and they're all stopped on the road. So I walk up to the Bravo Company commander. We're still dug in all online. Everybody's sitting there watching. And I said, "What's going on?" He said, "Well, it looks like we got the enemy up there." I said, "Well, how much somebody shoot?" "Oh, yeah." I said, "Come on, open up, fire." And so the captain goes, "Oh, okay, fire." So I go back to the radio and I get on the we had a tow frequency on one channel of our
Yeah.
Fox Mike radios, and that was being run by our tow platoon commander, James Bright. We used to call him, of course, James, not so bright, but First Lieutenant James Bright. He retired as a Marine Colonel. He was also a Texas Aggie. I think his last position might have been the professor of naval science there at Texas A&M.
Oh wow.
Really good guy. I said, "Hey, James, how about lighting them up with the toes?" And so they started lighting them up.
Nice.
And AJ was a turkey shoot. And the snipers in State Platoon, we had purchased with money that became available right before the war when I still was back at Camp Pendleton,
Yeah.
out there where you live in Oklahoma.
Hmm.
I knew who Ronnie Barrett was.
Yeah.
And anybody in the shooting community knew Ronnie Barrett.
Hmm.
I called him one day and said, "Hey, I heard you've been playing with a 50 caliber gun that
Hmm.
has a magazine." He said, "You heard right." He says, "It's got a magazine and it's a single shot, but it's got a magazine, feeder from the bottom." I said, "I want you to come out here to Camp Pendleton and show it to us." No problem. So about 4 days later, he didn't fly in. 2 pickup trucks show up. He's got about 4 these 50 cal rifles that we now call Barrett guns.
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay, I want you to build 18 of them, and I'm going to buy them from you. And we'll cut the order today, and you got to get them to me before we go." So we got the first 18 Barrett rifles. So
Wow.
I had a beefed up sniper platoon with 18 school trained Marine snipers. They each had a Barrett 50 cal,
Oh my
and
God.
they each were in a Humvee. And so the Humvee had a sandbag on the hood
Hmm.
with the Barrett rifle in the sandbag, and they were shooting at 800 to 1,000 meters.
Okay.
All good snipers keep a logbook in that little green
Yeah.
Menno book.
Yeah.
They got their A gunner. So we have this fight for about 35 or 40 minutes.
Okay.
After the war, when we're in Manifa Bay, which was the 1st Division staging area to
Uh-huh.
get everybody cleaned up before you flew home.
Hmm.
It's actually a bay in Saudi Arabia. You go swimming in the Persian Gulf.
Okay.
Nothing else at Manifa Bay. Division built a tent camp there. Drill instructor laid it out, straight as an arrow. Every battalion had a battalion street. Every company had a company street.
Yeah.
Everything was on stakes. Big flagpole in the middle. Division CP. It's a pretty cool base camp, really. I interviewed every one of the snipers
Uh-huh.
and asked them about their shots. And so I'm talking to this one Lance Corporal, and I said, "Well, tell me about your best shot." "Sir, it was right when we started, and I was out on our left flank, and it was 936 meters. One shot, it was a headshot to the driver of a BMP." And I said, "Okay, yeah, I'm not saying I don't believe you, but
Yeah.
how did you do that?" "Yeah, I got my logbook right here, got my A gunner signature, and look here, I got Captain Trahan." Captain Trahan was the Bravo Company commander.
Uh-huh.
He saw it. I got him to countersign it. He said, "How do you know it was 936 meters?" "Sir, don't you remember? You bought laser rangefinders for all the snipers." I said, I did? And so they had a big laser rangefinder.
Yeah.
Well, if you remember back, I got familiar with laser rangefinders on Hill 119.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Buy the book, read about the first ever in combat laser rangefinders.
That's right.
Oh, now we're in the Gulf War. Each sniper's got a lot smaller laser rangefinder. And when they're setting up the shot, they got their A gunner and a M49 spotting scope. He's looking at the Barrett gun through his scope. He's got his laser rangefinder. He said it was a stopped BMP. So we talked about it, and we said, well, if we shoot the driver, it'll be stopped longer. So the tow guys next to us said, you shoot the driver, I can put a tow missile into the stopped vehicle. So they started forming couples
Yeah.
where the surveillance target acquisition team with a trained sniper was actually identifying targets with the tow vehicle,
Yeah.
shooting a sniper round out at it to show them where it was, and then the tow would fire it up and launch a tow missile and take it out.
Wow.
So I interviewed the tow guys also after, and to try to give some of the tow gunners some credit for what they deserved.
Yeah.
When a pilot in a wing flies and he kills somebody else in air-to-air combat,
Mm-hmm.
if he knocks down 5 planes, he becomes an ace.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I said, if I got a tow gunner and he knocks down 3 BMPs and 2 tanks, he's a tow ace.
Yeah.
And he can paint it on the side of his tow vehicle.
Oh, nice.
So what happened in Saudi Arabia is during Desert Shield, all the vehicles got painted tan for the desert.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody had trouble figuring out whose vehicle was whose.
Yeah.
So the units started putting unit symbols on them.
Mm-hmm.
And the small unit symbols would take after the name of their unit. And then they had to put some big symbols like inverted V's. Like in all our Amtraks, we had big inverted V's. So you could look at binoculars and pick out that was a friendly Amtrak.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And then on their whip antenna, you would put duct tape 2 feet long.
Mm-hmm.
And if the guy had 3 2 feet long, 3 dots on top of a box in map reading is platoon. So the vehicle that had 3 duct tape things coming out had the platoon commander in it.
Okay.
So the company commander, he got 3 lieutenants, but there's 10 Amtraks. They're all painted
Yeah.
brown over maybe a kilometer to the left, kilometer to the right,
Mm-hmm.
because you got a dispersion when guys are shooting missiles at you.
Yeah.
So anyway, at the end of the war, we had some snipers with some impressive kills with the Barrett gun,
Mm-hmm.
and we had tow aces that had more than 5 kills
Nice.
with that. Now that battle, I told you that Delta Company was tied in with 1st Tank Battalion.
Right.
Well, while the 256 Mechanized Brigade was coming across our T ambush,
Mm-hmm.
there was another Mechanized Brigade that had swung around and ran nose on into 1st Tank Battalion.
Oh, geez.
And 1st Tank Battalion ate them up.
Yeah.
And so did its toes. Alpha Company and Delta Company got involved with dismounted infantry
Mm-hmm.
that were in the Albergoin. That became the largest mechanized battle in Marine Corps history,
Mm-hmm.
with over 100 100 tanks
Wow.
and over 200 BMPs, mechanized vehicles,
Right.
killed in that battle. And so there were a lot of units that went to Desert Shield, didn't see anything because that's the buildup. Desert Storm lasted 100 hours.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of units that saw no shots fired in anger. Well, I can tell you that 1st Tank Battalion,
Mm-hmm.
1st Battalion, 1st Marines, 3rd Battalion, 9th Marines, and Task Force Papa Bear on what was now, G+1 in the morning.
Yeah.
That was a big battle. And it was, everybody got their jitters out,
Mm-hmm.
settled back into training.
Yeah.
And there's hardly nothing coming at you. We had some small arms fire coming at us,
Mm-hmm.
but hardly nothing else. It all died down in front of Bravo Company. So we'd identified a north-south macadam road.
Mm-hmm.
My S2 Chief Warrant Officer Choney, Choney,
Okay.
Chone Dog on the radio, had found a 2-lane road
Uh-huh.
going north to Hill 127. And Bravo Company, not Bravo, Alpha Company now, because they were sitting right on it.
Right.
So we had to 3-shot pass the word that Alpha Company is going to attack north up the
Mm-hmm.
road. Bravo was going to go up to the burning oil fields, dismount, have infantry go across and take the next road.
Mm.
And then after Alpha had cleared the crossroads, the tractors were going to go around and pick up the infantry.
Got it.
So
Okay.
Bravo's to cover the left flank of Alpha,
Mm-hmm.
and then Delta's going to do the same thing on the other side.
Right.
Well, so we pass the order, and nothing happens for about a half hour. So I get frustrated. I jump in my P7 tractor.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell Chris, I say, let's go over to Alpha Company. So we're driving behind Bravo Company, and I can see the Alpha Company commander's tractor because he's got a big 292 antenna on the back of his tractor on a big pole, aluminum
Mm-hmm.
pole going up 3 high. And it's a big white flag on the back of it. It's the state flag for the state of Louisiana.
Mm.
We weren't allowed to fly American flags, so he decided to fly the flag of the state of Louisiana, where he's from. So Rob is sitting up in the commander's turret. I drive up, and I jump out and walk in front of my tractor. So he gets out, Rob gets out, comes down. We walk up, and we're standing there, and he goes, "Hey, sir, you better be careful. Those guys are shooting at us." And you can hear them all. And they're going over our head,
Yeah.
like 1,000 meters overhead. I said, they're only shooting in our direction. They're not shooting at us. I said, I thought you got the word to attack. He said, we are. He said, I've already moved 500 meters this way. I said, and what direction is that? He goes, well, sir, that's east. And I said, and what direction are you supposed to be attacking? He said, well, I was supposed to be attacking north. And he goes, but I was trying to take care of those guys. I said, well, why don't you let Delta Company have those guys? Get off your ass and attack north. We laugh about it today. It wasn't a very big firefight, but they strapped it on and got on the road and went north.
Yeah.
And went up. And that afternoon, I took Hill 127. And once you entered the oil field, you could not see. You could see you couldn't see lights on. Everybody had their lights on. You couldn't see them. You could not see it was so pitch black you could not see. And it's raining. And what's happening is the heat is causing H2O to
Uh-huh.
go up, and there's two in it, and there's less O than there is water,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's causing it to rain. But because there's oil in the oil wells, each individual rain droplet on the outside is coated in oil.
Oh, jeez.
So when you get rained on, it goes splat, and then you get oil on you.
Oh, man.
And so you're getting rained, you're getting like watered down oil,
Mm-hmm.
like your mother made oil and vinegar for the salad, but nobody cut the vinegar and the water, and all the oil is piling up on you. And so we are going at a snail's pace, and we get up to the gathering center mid-afternoon, and there's a warehouse on the right side of it, and we thought it was empty, and then about a half hour later we start taking fire. So Delta Company had to dismount and get online and go into the warehouse and take care of the dismounted Iraqis that were trapped in a warehouse. And what developed was the guys in front were firing their weapons, I think because they had people behind them
Uh-huh.
pointing weapons at them, that if you don't fire, we're going to kill you.
Mm.
But once they fired a magazine, they would drop their weapon and surrender. And so our Marines were shooting when they were shooting,
Right.
and then would stop. Everybody would look at each other. And finally, one of the Marines would go like this. The Iraqis that were brave enough to stand up and walk towards us.
Yeah.
Well, we had so many prisoners, we stopped taking prisoners. We just pushed them behind us and told them to keep walking south.
Wow.
That
Yeah.
we're not going to deal with you.
Mm-hmm.
We removed their weapon, walked south. We spent the second night, we won one, circled up on Hill 127.
Mm-hmm.
And for us, it was a culminating point for fuel.
Okay.
Our tracks needed fuel. I had two 1,200-gallon refuelers, which are the short. It's like a 1,200-gallon tank on the back of a 6x.
Right.
It's a dedicated refueler. And I had two of them assigned to our mechanized task force,
Mm-hmm.
each driven by a Lance Corporal who I interviewed afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And they both braved the burning oil fires, came up that macadam road in the dark, oil head on each side at 400 degrees or whatever it was,
Right.
with 1,200 gallons, a JP8 on their back. One of the Lance Corporals, I said, "What'd your A driver do?" "Hey, sir, I didn't have an A driver, but I had my boom box. I put that cassette tape in, cranked it up on 12, rolled the windows up so the heat wouldn't come in, had the boom box, put it in low, and I was going." He said, "I was not going to stop for nobody." I said, could you see?" He said, "No, but I figured there wasn't nobody on the road." And of course, I think he had to scare some Iraqis off that road.
Yeah.
We topped off there and spent the night. Let me see. There's my trade. I
Yeah,
love
he's coming to
trades.
visit.
Yeah, I love it. Okay. We top off with the refueler. I told you about that. And I'm looking at the map, and we're due south of Kuwait International Airport. We
Right.
can stay in this hardball, and we could probably push it right up there. And I'm wanting to go north
Right.
that early evening.
This
Division
this
has
is
an orders group.
this is still the first night.
This is night 2.
Night 2. Okay.
Night 1, we're south of the burning oil field.
Yeah.
It's at G days, the G+1. That's when General Myatt got hit.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we got in the big tank battle.
Okay.
When that's over on G+1, we go up to take our objective 1,
Mm-hmm.
Hill 127.
Right.
I got to tell you a great story.
Yeah.
When I'm at the sand table, I got this big long wooden pointer like a pool cue
Yeah.
because it was a pool cue. And I'm walking around and I point to 127 and I say to the assembled masses, Objective 1 is the 1st Battalion, 1st Marines objective because it is key terrain. And it's key terrain, Marines, because when you stand on top of Objective 1 and look to the east, you can see the Persian Gulf. And when you look to the north, you can see Kuwait International Airport and those big wide bodies taking off. When you look to the west, you can see Al Jabair Airfield, which is the fighter airfield for the Kuwaiti Army and now the Iraqi Army. And when you look to the south, you can see Saudi Arabia. So Hill 127 is truly key terrain. We got there, and it's pitch black at noon. High noon, it's pitch black. You can't see nothing. We fast forward to my departure party for the officers and staff NCOs.
Uh-huh.
Is it May 30th, 1991?
Uh-huh.
And it's in a bar that doesn't exist anymore. There was a bachelor officers' quarters and / staff NCO building in the later years on Camp Del Mar that was on the cliff.
Yeah.
It overlooked the ocean outside Boat Basin.
Mm-hmm.
And in the basement of that bar was a bar called Sharky's. And it was just a plain, simple bar with a 2-tap keg beer pull on it and linoleum floor, sliding glass, Pacific Ocean. So we had our camouflage utilities, chocolate chips or desert chip,
Yeah.
camouflage utilities, my going away party. And at it, of course, everybody gives plaques and shit. The S3 shop comes up with this plaque. It's on brown butcher paper. It's on my wall back here. So I was turning around to look at it. And in the middle, they've drawn in black magic marker Hill 127. And they had taken 4 Polaroid pictures, north, south, east, and west, that you could see black and like one wellhead on fire here, and maybe the side of a little building. And then at the bottom of it, they put on 27 February, the battalion commander, Fallon, declared this key terrain because you could see the Persian Gulf. As you can see, that's why this was key terrain. So they presented that to me. And
That's good.
It's on the wall back there in the brown paper
Yeah,
stack written out in longhand. One of
that's good.
my prized possessions. Um, the XO goes to the Papa Bear orders group. Papa Bear 3 and CO with division orders group. Division wants to come out and push straight north and drive northwest of Kuwait City all the
Hmm.
way to the water and cut off Kuwait from Iraq.
Okay.
And they're going to have Task Force Ripper drive as fast as they can straight north. And they're going to have the supporting attack on their right flank, guard their right flank, go up, and then ultimately peel right and take Kuwait International Airport.
Hmm.
And so the tank battalion and 3-9 are out in the desert, and they're south of the oil field. So all
Hmm.
they got to do is like come around and go up in open desert. Task Force Ripper had a good fight, but all they got to do is go forward. I'm sitting in the middle of the oil. So I call back in the radio and say, no, I want to go straight. They said, no, you can't do that. Yeah, I want to go straight. No. So they said, you got to drive west onto Macadam Road
Uh-huh.
and link up with us. We'll come up and you can bump into us and you can just fall in behind us.
Yeah.
Well, an order's an order. So I go, okay. So we get up early the next morning and we get all lined up. And now we're 2 roads further north going east-west
Hmm.
than we were the earlier morning. Really only about 1.5 kilometers further north.
Right.
And we're going west about 5 kilometers to get out of the burning oil field.
Okay.
So we do this great move where we got 2 battalions cross in front of us, like we're at the train stoplight. I'm watching all these vehicles go. Now we can go behind them because I'm supposed to be the battalion between us and Ripper. Now
Okay.
we're going north. And we're going north. And we're going north. I had 2 Ford air controllers,
Uh-huh.
Marine pilots in Humvees. One was attached to a Bravo company that's going to be my standard point company when we're in column. One's attached to one of the gun sections that's got my lieutenant that knows how to read a map and got this Marine Marine First Lieutenant Dillon. And they're going to be my left flank.
Okay.
Of course, Dillon's call sign's Marshall, right? Marshall Dillon.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that makes sense.
And we're going north, and Dillon gets all excited, and he says, I got a column of armored vehicles running away from us. They're 3 kilometers north of us, but I got eyes on. They're 3 kilometers away, and we're speeding up. Well, I can put bombs on target. So he's got to call our air liaison officer
Uh-huh.
that's in the Alpha Command Group has to call it into the Tactical Air Control Center and
Right.
pick up a set of fixed wing, and that all goes good. And my fire support coordinator, J.D. Howell,
Okay.
Captain 1H, also an aerial observer, knows fire support coordination inside out.
Hmm.
He is looking at this on the map, and he says, he calls to the 3 and to me, he says, that target's outside of our zone. So that target's
Yeah.
in Ripper's zone. We got to hand the target off. And so I'm calling Ripper,
Mm-hmm.
and the right battalion, the Eastern Battalion, is 1st Battalion, 7th Marines. And so I enter their net, their TAC 1 net, and I say, this is Papa Bear 1-1 calling for Ripper. And I said, look, we think there's a target in front of us at this grid square. And their 6 comes up. Their 6 is a friend of mine, Lieutenant Colonel, who I've trained together my whole life, named Jim Mattis. And Mattis says, basically, you dumb shit, that's me. He said, okay, we will not fire you up. Well, meanwhile, Marshal Dillon, he's given the 9-line brief that a fixed-wing aircraft, and all his aviators want to do is bomb.
Yeah.
So we're all on the radio calling Dillon, you are not cleared hot. Check fire, you are not cleared hot. And so depending on who tells the story, I got Dillon's radio operator. I met Dillon's radio operator 45 years later or 40 years later. He's a really good kid. He flies crop duster airplanes out of an airfield in Yuma, and he does crop dusting, at 200 feet over cotton fields in Yuma and Pima County.
Yeah.
And you know what a crop duster is? He's a crazy pilot that they won't let fly any passengers because he's too crazy.
Yeah.
But he loves flying crop dusters because, he gets his own box and he can do wing overs and barrel rolls and turn around and hit the spray buttons and it's spray, mainly fertilizer is what they're doing most of the time. I went and met him one day, and he was Dillon's radio operator. He says, hey, we had General Mattis. I mean, we're 30 seconds out on final. And those wings were coming level when we called them off. And I said, hey, partner, you weren't on final. You were at least 3 minutes out. No, we're on final. Anyway, he likes to tell the story that he personally saved General Mattis's life.
Yeah.
And in his mind, he did.
Well, it's like any good fishing story. You gotta make it interesting, and you gotta make it your own. So it's good. It's good.
Yeah. So everybody clears, and we're heading north, and everybody has got to stop at phase lines, and everybody and their brother's got a phase line.
Mm-hmm.
Schwarzkopf has got a force phase line. Boomer's got a phase line with his force, the MEF.
Mm-hmm.
Division's got phase lines. Anyway, in the middle of the afternoon, everybody stops. Another orders group. And so this time I go back to regiment. Regiment's behind us. And right now it's 3 nines in the lead. Then there's the regimental command group, tank battalions behind them. In column, I'm over here on the left flank.
Right.
And as we go north, at Kuwait International Airport is north of us and in the right flank.
Mm-hmm.
And They just had a division orders group, and they had given the task to take the east runway to one of the reserve battalions to come around. They were going to the east.
Mm-hmm.
And they gave Papa Bear the task to take the eastern runway, come around to the right, and they said that's going to be an attack as soon as you kick it off. So I go to our orders group, and 3-9 is pretty far north, so they want to keep those guys going north to cut the highway.
Right.
And so Papa Bear decides 1-1's going to take the airport.
Okay.
And they're going to keep the tanks back in case they run into any tank battles. Kind of makes sense. And so the plan is that 3-9 is going to get out of the way. And now I'm going to cut back across in front of everybody that I just went behind, around, to get to the same place that I would have been.
Right.
Everybody's at the Q&A part of the orders group, which means they're just standing around shooting shit, and the gas attack alarm goes off for the division and the regiment. And that's big sirens, or they got crank sirens and radio things. And everybody's got to go to MOP 4, which is put your total MOP suit on and put your gas mask on, and you're in MOP 4 until it's clear. Well, everybody in the regiment is already in their MOP suit. I think they're in MOP 3, which means everything but your gas mask.
Right.
I'm in friggin' MOP 0. Not supposed to be, but I'm in my chocolate chips, and I got my map, and I got my soft cover, and I'd gone to the orders group. I had my Humvee. I had a Humvee that I had my driver. The criteria to get selected out of the motor pool to be my driver was you had to be able to make coffee in under 1 minute on a squad stove.
Oh, okay.
The sergeant major had a contest who could stop their vehicle, get out. Squad stove, you got to prime it with a primer, a little trick to it, get some blue gas light going, and make coffee. And so the driver that won the coffee contest, he was a good kid. He just always followed my tractor. And all he had to do was follow the tractor. And I was kind of lazy. I had all my shit in there, except my gas mask was on the back of the seat in the Amtrak. I took it off my hip, and I got pretty big hips, and I couldn't put a flak jacket on and my gas mask and get out of my Amtrak hatch. At least that's my excuse. And it's kind of like the dog eats your homework.
Right.
I tell the ninth grade teacher, I did my homework, but my dog ate it last night. I'm at the regimental or the task force orders group. The alarm goes off, so they say it's over. So I sprint back to my Humvee. There's my driver with his gas mask on, sit behind the vehicle. I jump into the front, and I look all around. I got no gas mask.
Oh,
It's 10 kilometers away. So I yell at him, and I said, okay, can you drive? He said, I can't see. I said, I can see. He said, sir, you don't have a gas mask on. I said, that means I can see. I said, you drive. You keep your gas mask on, and I'll tell you where to go.
Oh,
so he cranks it up. I said, just go straight. Drive at 5 miles an hour. So I'm driving, and one, I'm scared shitless that it's a real gas attack. And maybe it hit division, or maybe it hit regiment.
Right.
But I'm leaving. No, I don't want to get caught by, you know, the 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 NBC officers mafia. Like, everybody hates NBC officers. And they're all limited duty officers or warrant officers.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, they went from being nobody loved me to being the number one guy in every unit, battalion or squadron in Desert Shield, because they were given all the NBC
Yeah.
lessons, all the signals, and what you do if you got mustard gas on your hand. How do I
Right.
get mustard gas off my hand? Everybody loved him. Well, I didn't want to get caught by the NBC mafia. Plus, I want to get back to my battalion. So after about 5 minutes of driving, I mean, we're nowhere. My driver goes, "Hey, sir, can I take my mask off?" I said, "Yeah, that's probably a good idea." He takes it off. We open the windows. It's flooded. I'll get out. He says, "Sir, do you know where we are?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "You see these high power lines?" So we've been navigating by roads, pipelines, and high power lines, right?
Yeah.
Drive out to the high power line, turn right. We're going to be 5 or 6 kilometers up there.
Yeah.
I go up to the orders group. I say, "Okay, and it's good news. We're going to get to take the East Runway, White International. We have our orders group.
Yeah.
So we're going to go standard column. When 39 clears, Bravo Company, you're going to head this way.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to come up to Six Rings Road.
Uh-huh.
Six Rings Road is like the beltway that goes around Washington, D.C., or
Right.
the beltway around Houston. It's built to interstate standards, cloverleaf. It's called Six Rings because there's 3 lanes in each direction, and it was the outer ring around Kuwait City.
Right.
And it went from the north all the way around. And back in those days, it was in the desert, and Kuwait International Airport was inside Six Rings Road.
Okay.
So Schwarzkopf had cut the deal with his coalition partners, and they had a coalition task force made up of Eastern Coalition Arabian countries, led by Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and Egypt. And those guys were coming up the coast road, basically following behind the 1st Marine Division.
Okay.
And the deal was they got to take Kuwait City, which was a pretty good deal, because if it was going to be house to house, or if it was going to be Arab on Arab, and if there was going to be civilian population, that was their mess.
Yeah.
And so the demarcation line was Six Rings Road. Except General Myatt wanted to take the airport.
Right.
Because the airport's always a international city that you won. So it's actually a MEF objective and a division objective. And so we're waiting for 39 to clear. We cut behind them. We get to Six Rings Road. And of course, because it's a ring, it's a phase line, because any staff officer worth his grease pencil can, well, it's like 3 phase lines. It's Schwarzkopf phase line between the coalition forces and the U.S.
Right.
So, and it's got a color. And it's a 1MEF phase line, and it's a first division phase line, and it's a task force Ripper phase line, not
Right.
Ripper, Papa Bear. Shit, it's one line, it's got 4 colors, and we get there, and when you get a phase line, you're supposed to report it, get permission to go across it. But we had orders to take the city, not the city, the airport.
The airport. Yeah.
So I'm ignoring the phase line, and we're going to go under the underpass. We're going to put a mech platoon out up on top, going each way to be our security from Bravo Company. You know, and Alpha's going to pass through with 1 platoon of Bravo and Stay platoon and guns and Watash. We're up on point, and we're running on a hardball highway going to the airport.
Yeah.
The intercom comes on, and I had a staff sergeant comm guy in the back that would talk to me on the intercom and tell me who was on what radio, and we color coded them for different frequencies. And he said, "Hey, sir, the 3's on button blue." So I just had to go down and push that button.
Right.
And I'd say, "Hey, Wags, what you got?" He said, "Well, everybody and their brother is on the radio telling us to stop at the phase line." I said, "Okay, Wags, I'm going to tell you a trick." He says, "You know, we're supposed to stop until he tells us to go." I said, "Wags, I'm going to tell you a trick. Turn off all those radios." He said, "What?" I said, "Wags, turn off all those radios and tell your comm chief to fix them. We're going for the airport." He goes, "Okay." We keep going. And now it's nightfall. And, you know, Wags has got him off, but the Bravo command group has got him on.
Yeah.
All the radios on. And you got to have radios on so you can command and control. And the Kuwait International's 2 hardball runways, that at that time, I think they were 12,000 feet. There's like 2 kilometers in between the 2 of them.
Yeah.
And they generally run north-south.
Okay.
And so we got the eastern one. And actually, we're supposed to take the south end of the eastern one. And 39's going to take the north end.
Okay.
And I think it's 125 supposed to take. We're taking the east, north, south, east. We're taking the west runway. The east runway towards the Persian Gulf. Well, they're still at they're still getting organized back at the
phase line?
No, at the barriers. I mean,
At the barriers.
they're 4 phases. Good thing, 4 phases back, and they got to go around the Albergan oil field. And so division, rightfully so, gets worried that they had Task Force Shepherd, which is the 1st LAR battalion reinforced, out screening north of Papa Bear on the east flank.
Okay.
And so they're east of the Albergoin and south of the city, but all they got to do is turn left and drive about 5 kilometers, and they're there.
Right.
So Shepard's given the mission over the radio. You take the east runway, which means they got to go through 6 Rings Road.
Right.
And take the east runway. We got to go through. So big pincher movement. We get through 6 Rings Road, and we're coming up on the runway. We're on a 2-lane black highway, black asphalt highway. Big irrigation ditches on both sides.
Okay.
Still kind of rural desert, south of the eastern runway, and the Stapleton says, "Hey, we got a chain link fence in front of us." So now we're dead stop, and they take a look at it, and they say it's a double chain link fence with about 300 meters between each chain link fence.
Mhm.
There's a gate. There's a big chain link lock around the gate. There's one on the inside. And they're saying, what do we do? And so somebody says, just knock it down and drive through it. And they go, oh, wait a minute, you're not here. What the Iraqis had done on the right side was a high tension power line,
Mhm.
those big aluminum ones that
Right.
goes up with 2 arms and 12 lines
Yeah.
going. And we've been following it all the way into the city.
Mhm.
They had taken a wire off of that, had brought it down to the gate,
Oh, geez.
tied it to the gate. And so that wire is sparking, and a wire up there is sparking.
Oh my
And a
God.
corporal in Stapleton standing there, and he said, this gate's electrified with a power line to the right. And so there ensues on the Stay Network a 15-minute discussion of what are we going to do.
Right.
And finally, the Amtrak platoon commander gets upset, and he says, we're going to drive through it with an Amtrak. And the Amtrak driver says, hey, sir, this track's aluminum. Are you gonna drive it? You're gonna fry. And so this, I don't know this till after the war. They're all talking about it. We're all stopped. It's still raining black. The oil heads are behind us.
Yeah.
We're sitting there, and finally, the Sergeant Stapleton, who had taken some electricity in high school or as a junior
Mhm.
college, he goes, my mop boots are rubber. So he goes and puts on his mop boots. He gets his decontamination mop rubber gloves
Yeah.
from the decontamination kit.
Mhm.
He gets a set of bolt cutters.
Yeah.
He says, fuck it, I'm going up there, and it's sparking. The whole time he's cutting, it's sparking. He doesn't feel nothing. He takes the chain down. He pushes the gates open, goes up, cuts the second one. Single file, we go through the thing. Everybody gets to see it all sparking. We go
Wow.
online and we get into a tank battle. Soviet doctrine, which is taught to all Arab countries, is you defend airports with tanks.
Right.
So you defend your valuable commodity with one of your best mobile defenses.
Right.
And there's a tank squadron of 12 tanks there. And so we have a little shooting contest. And I think the Toes took out the first 2.
Oh wow.
And the crews from the last 10,
Mhm.
D.D. Mound, got up and ran.
No
And it's
kidding. Wow.
totally dark. And so there's 10 tanks there that we capture and 2 smoking hulls. We take the southwestern end of the airfield.
Mhm.
And I think that's enough for the evening.
Okay.
And a little past midnight, and the word comes, "Oh, what do you want to do?" And I said, "Well, we were told to take this airfield." I said, "Tell everybody to turn around and dig in." I didn't know what to say. So everybody's tired. So get off the runway, turn around, dig in. We stop. And later on that night, there was an industrial complex south of the airfield that needed to be cleared. So Delta Company, our now practice clearance company, got to over and clear it between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m.
Oh, wow.
And then at 8 a.m. that morning, the ceasefire got declared.
Mm-hmm.
When the ceasefire was declared, we were sitting right next to the radio building. It's really two of them. Two buildings with no windows, just doors that house the radios for Kuwait International Airport Authority. So
Okay.
the airport was ringed by that double chain link fence.
Mm-hmm.
There were airport vehicles with Kuwait International Airport written in English and Arabic
Right.
parked there. There was the radio building.
Mm-hmm.
So I said to Sergeant Major Hall, "You got the American flag and the Marine Corps flag?" He said, "Yes, sir." I said, "On the roof of the building." So they drove an Amtrak up. They had to get on the Amtrak, find a ladder. The building was 2 stories, no windows. Get on a flat roof. Had a nice wall around it. Put up the 292. One big 292 aluminum cable. Big American flag. Underneath it, Marine Corps flag. Wind blowing to the south, and in the background, the burning Albergone oil field with the wellheads and a black curtain,
Right.
and then clean air in front of it. Sunrise in the east had come up, 8 o'clock sun. We take the picture. We gave it to a reporter for the New York Times,
Yeah.
who put it on a satellite phone. And that picture was on the front page of the New York Times and the Washington Post that Sunday morning, or whatever morning that was.
Wow.
And of course, it was an iconic picture.
Right.
5 years later, the picture was on the cover of the Marine Corps Gazette.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we weren't supposed to be putting up the American flag because Kuwait City had not been taken.
Oh, right.
The ceasefire had come. They cut a deal, so we were supposed to pass the coalition forces through us for a great victory parade.
Right.
In the middle of the night, First Force Recon had flown in and taken back the U.S. Embassy.
Mm-hmm.
So they had put the flag up at the embassy. The city was still in the hands of basically Kuwaiti people that had not fled.
Mm-hmm.
All the Arab army basically had left. And at 8 o'clock, in 3 different columns, one the coast road, one the airport road, the coalition forces were coming in. The word comes over the radio, we got to take the flag down. Bob Wagner calls me up and says, "We got the word to take the flag down." I said, "Who told you to turn the radios back on, Bob. And he says, sir? I said, look, you go ahead and get the main CP set up. And I had the jump CP next to the Radio Shack, and we had built a bonfire. They called the ceasefire. We had built a bonfire. I had a camp stool. I'm sitting on my camp stool. Bonfire going in front of me by myself. About 8:30 in the morning, this Humvee comes driving up 25 miles an hour.
Yeah.
All by itself. Stops. The assistant division commander.
Oh no.
Really fine gentleman named Tom Droughty, former Vietnamese Marine advisor, two-tour guy in Vietnam.
Okay.
Really a great American. I stand up, got no cover on. I salute him. He's a 1-star. He's got one little star on his. He's still wearing his mop suit.
Yeah.
On the outside of his mop suit. Got his big mop boots on. I said, hey, sir, come on over here. Did you know we got a ceasefire? I got a camp stool for you. Sergeant Major, get the general coffee. Sir, get out of that mop suit. We won. And he goes, yeah, I know, Mike. He comes over and sits down, and he takes the coffee, and he says, do you know why I'm here? I go, well, you're probably not here to tell us we did a good job. Well, you guys did do a good job. So I said, hang on for a minute. Hang on. Let me go get your coffee. So I get up and walk away from the fire over to where the Sergeant Major and my Humvee are parked.
Yeah.
Hey, Sergeant Major Hall, come here. Go around back of the Radio Shack and have a fire team of Marines take down the American flag. And for now, take down the Marine flag. For now. Sir, I said, just do it. So I get the general's coffee. I come back. I give him the coffee. And he looks up and he said, yeah, I really came by here to tell you you're doing a great job. Hey, let's talk a little bit. And so he stayed, and I helped him get out of his mop suit.
Yeah.
He asked me how it went. I said, I'm really tired. He said, why don't you take a nap? And I said, well, I got to check my troops. All right, so we're at the ceasefire. Hey, Jay, that's a good place to stop if you want.
Yeah, I think that's a good place. Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is good.
When we come back, so that's flag story 2. When we come back, I'm going to write a note. I got to tell flag story 1.
Okay.
If I haven't told it. So sometimes I can't remember if I've told it.
I don't remember it.
Okay. You would have remembered. Flag story 1. So you've heard 1 alpha and 2. We got 3 flag stories.
Okay.
Now you got to hear number 1. And then you got to hear, actually the next thing we did, we're very proud of. I'll tease it. About a week later, 1-1 went online, and we found the last missing Marine who was a missing pilot who was dead, but we found him missing. He had been shot. His plane had been shot down, and he was the General Boomer had accounted for everybody. Counted. He had the bodies for the KIA, WIA.
Right.
The couple POWs had been exchanged at the ceasefire talks.
Mm-hmm.
He had everybody back in the Marine Corps except for one. And I actually told Myatt I could find him if he would let me leave Saudi Arabia and go back to Kuwait. We'll tell that story.
All right.
Why we did it, and how we did it next time.
Very nice. Yeah, looking forward to that for sure. Mike,
Okay.
thanks for coming on and doing this, man. You're telling some great stories. I'm loving every second of it. For everybody out there, don't forget, Mike's books comes out, what was it, August 15?
You got it.
Yeah,
You can-
August 15, the new book, Kill 119, a Recon Marine OP in Vietnam. So you got to go check that out. You got to pre-order it. Go ahead and get it. It's going to be a fantastic book. But thanks again, Mike. Much appreciated.
Thanks, AJ. Good talking to you.
You as well. To all the listeners out there, if you're struggling, need help, anything like that, don't forget the VA has some great resources. You can always dial 988, press option 1. You can always text 838-255, or you can go to veteranscrisisline.net and click on the chat icon. Any of those options will put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life lost is one too many. I care about you. Mike cares about you. The whole veteran community cares about you. So please reach out for help. And if you're out there, you're not struggling, reach out to the buddies you served with. Ask them how they're doing. And if they need help, give them that helping hand. All right, Mike, one last time, thanks, and we'll see you on the next one for sure. To all the listeners out there, stay motivated, change your socks. Uh-oh, got to hit the right button. Now, stay motivated and change your socks.
Fallon,